Welcome to episode 3 of The Blueprint. Today we have another action-packed episode for you today. Starting off, we'll be walking you through what the differences in training is for males and females. I'll also let you know what the best workout plan is and how you can build and structure your own. Following that, actually take you through a Vietnamese recipe, how you can make broken rice and pork neck chop, and how you can fit that into your diet plan. And then we also have an interview with Hang. She walks us through her fitness journey over the last year and a half, what her challenges were, and she'll also tell you about how fitness has helped change her life. And I think that you guys will be able to find that quite inspiring and motivational. So stay tuned, sit tight, and enjoy the episode. I'll see you at the end. So how do we build muscle? Building muscle for males and females is absolutely identical in terms of principle. You need to train with heavy weights, which will trigger your body to heal, recover, adapt, and grow. And from then, you need to push harder the next time you train. You need to apply one of the 4 pillars of progressive overload each time you train. This is going to ensure that you have a proper stimulus for your body to adapt and grow. If you're training with the same weights you're doing every single time you're training at the gym, you're not really giving your body a reason to grow. We'll go through that in detail in a future episode, but the crux of it is you either need to increase the reps that you do, the frequency in which you train, the weights, and also time under tension. So when you're training, it's important that the next session you beat what you did the last time. If you can't beat it in the weights, at least the reps. If not the reps, time under tension. If not time under tension, and then frequency. So assuming your training is good, you have a good structured program, you also need to have sufficient protein. And what we mentioned in the previous episode is you don't need to be in a surplus to gain muscle. As long as you're eating enough for you to recover, you're not in a deficit that is too severe, you're gonna grow, as long as you apply the principles of progressive overload. So how do we structure a program? We first off need to determine how many times a week you can train. And if you're coming back from time off or you haven't trained before, it's important that you don't go too hard too fast. You'll burn yourself out. You need to give your body some time to grow and adapt, and from then you can work up the volume or the frequency. So as a recommendation, it's recommended for you to train each body part twice a week. And it's okay if you can't do that now, work up to it. And the reason why training twice a week is beneficial is the window for protein synthesis is usually 1 to 2 days. So what that means is after you train, after 2 days, your body can train again, right? And if you're only training your body part once a week, then you're only giving your body or that particular body part 52 opportunities to grow each year. If you're trying to get better at something and you're only practicing it 4 times a month, it's a bit harder for you to get better at it. So as a recommendation, it's twice a week, but I do know that there is a camp of people that like to do what we call a bro split. So they do each body part once a week. And look, at the end of the day, the best training program is one that suits you, one that you enjoy. If you enjoy absolutely blasting your muscles once a week, then do that. But in terms of what training method or structure is more beneficial for building muscle, it's gonna be higher frequency. So twice a week, even 3 times a week, and it's different for each person. You go by feel. You haven't trained before or you're coming back from time off, training each body part 3 times a week is quite excessive. It's gonna impact your recovery, so work your way up. In terms of structuring your workout, I want to give you the tools so you can structure and plan your own workout. With any program, the most important thing for you to do is to incorporate compound movements. Compound movements or exercises are exercises that train multiple muscles or one particular muscle group. So if you want to build a big chest, you're not going to get that from doing a lot of flies. You're going to get that by doing heavy push movements, for example, the bench press, or an incline press, or any dumbbell press. Those are the type of movements that incorporate multiple muscles. For example, that would incorporate your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps, and also your core as well, for you to be able to drive through your legs and push out with your chest. So compound exercises are bang for buck because 1, they train multiple muscles, 2, they help you build overall core and strength, and 3, they're much easier for you to progressively overload and get stronger. So as long as you're tracking your training sessions every week and you're getting stronger on your compound movements, your muscle's gonna grow. With any program that you do, with each session, when you're training that body part, what I recommend is only 3 exercises per body part. If you're training to failure, doing more than 3 exercises is actually quite difficult, especially when you're training your body part twice a week. As a recommendation, you need at least 10 to 20 hard sets for each body part for optimal muscle growth. For example, if you're training chest, I'd recommend doing 3 hard sets for 3 exercises. So that's 9 sets you've done for that session. Train that twice a week, that's 18 hard sets. That is more than enough for you to grow. And like I said, if you're training to failure on these exercises, it will be very difficult for you to get any more than 4 exercises, at least effectively. With the 3 exercises that we do per body part, the first one would have to be a compound exercise. So choose a compound exercise that you enjoy. So for example, for chest, it will be bench press, dumbbell press, incline bench. I know there's a lot of people that they do 4 different types of presses in one session. I think that's a little bit excessive, especially on your shoulder joints as well. So it's much more effective if you go all out on one of the pressing movements. And as your second exercise, you can do a accessory / compound / machine work. So I'd recommend any type of machine press. And then the last exercise, we can do like a small accessory, like a cable fly or dumbbell fly. In terms of structuring your workout and building your own program, I've included some examples in the description, depending on the frequency in which you're able to train each week. But the basic crux of it is, if you can train twice a week, I'd recommend you do upper body, lower body. If you can train 3 times a week, I'd recommend you do upper body, lower body, full body. If you can train 4 times a week, upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. If you can train 5 times a week, upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, full body, or it could be an accessory day. So if you're trying to bring up a lagging body part and you want to train that an extra session in the week, you can do it on that 5th day. Otherwise, you can stick to the upper body, lower body, 4 days a week. And if you can train 6 times a week, push, pull, legs, push, pull, legs. And what that means is you group up all the pushing movements on one day. For example, shoulder press, bench press, any accessory work relating to your triceps. And then on your pull day, you can do a big compound pull, for example, a deadlift or a penny row, lat pull downs, and some bicep curls. And then on your legs day, you do all leg movements. So your quads, your hamstrings, your calves. Training 7 days a week, I don't really recommend that. It depends if your body can handle it. You need to work your way up. So if you start off training twice a week and your body's able to recover, you start to move up to 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. And if you're feeling good on 6 and you want to train on the 7th day, then you can. I'd recommend taking a break. Sometimes taking a rest day means you're taking 1 step back, 2 step forward, because you're giving your body a little bit more time to grow and heal. So if you train, for example, push-pull legs, and you take a rest day, instead of having 3 days in between each session, you actually have 4 days to recover for your second push-pull leg. With any training program, it's super important that you train to failure. Training to failure is giving your body that stimulus and a reason to grow. If you're not training to failure, then your body doesn't need to adapt and get stronger if its current state is sufficient to complete that set. When you're not able to complete a set 100%, that's when your body is triggered. It knows that it needs to grow, it needs to adapt. And the reason why we are able to build muscle is for survival. If you think about it, back in prehistoric times and our ancestors were hunting, they needed to be stronger. And if they didn't recover and get better, they'll be the hunted rather than the hunter. So you need to apply the same principles of metabolic stress, allow yourself time to grow, and then train again and train harder than you did last time. In terms of rep ranges, it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to build muscle, it's called muscular hypertrophy, then your rep ranges should be between 12 and 15. If you're training purely for strength, like a powerlifting program, you'd find the rep ranges to be anywhere between 1 and 5, maybe sometimes more. What we like to do is power building, so we're in between strength and hypertrophy. So we typically train on our compound movements anywhere between 6 to 10 reps, and then all our accessory work, we do bodybuilding, which is 12 to 15. That way we get to get stronger as we train, but we're also doing the accessory work for the muscular hypertrophy as well. And in terms of these rep ranges is not to be taken as a limit, right? If you can do more reps, do more reps. If you've set yourself a rep range of 12 to 15, that 12 to 15 needs to be to failure. And when you're doing that set, you're supposed to find it difficult at the 7 to 8 mark, and you're pushing your limits on each rep and grinding it out to that 15th one where you can't complete another one. That's a set. Like with your calories, the weights that you do in the gym and the reps that you do is arbitrary. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. If you're going to the gym and you're going half pace through your whole session for 3 hours, you're not really training with intensity. Let's just say the intensity was 5 out of 10, you're not really getting much of a workout. And to be honest, you might not even build any substantial muscle if that's the way you're training. You need to train to your limits. In the description below, I've structured a sample program for you to model your own program off. And I've listed different programs for people training 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week. And from then you can actually modify that program to suit your needs. And as you can see in the structure, here's an example. We've got a compound exercise that you can switch out, another secondary compound, an accessory. So as long as you're structuring your workout for each body part to have a compound, a secondary compound, and accessory work, you're perfectly fine. So as an example, chest, here's a sample training session for chest. We have one compound, a secondary compound, and an accessory. You can switch out these exercises for any other exercise of the same category as long as you enjoy it. As a general rule of thumb, a stronger muscle is a bigger muscle. Even though the correlation isn't 1-to-1, you can't deny the fact that once you get stronger, you're gonna eventually build muscle. Your muscles aren't gonna get smaller when you get stronger. So once we've structured our program and we've decided what we're gonna do, you need to also factor in 3 things: your rest, your sleep, and also your water intake. Your body is 60% water, and the majority of your muscles is actually water and glycogen. So you need to keep replacing your fluids, make sure you stay hydrated. I know that on the days that I'm not drinking enough water, my performance in the gym is obviously a lot lower and I'm not able to get a pump or a contraction. I just don't feel 100%, but on the days that I drink water, I feel like I can perform optimally. So super important you keep your water intake high. I recommend 2 to 4 liters. Sleep is super important. I can't stress how important sleep is. Sleep is the time that you recover and you grow. That's when you're actually building muscle. When you're in the gym, you're actually breaking down your muscles, not building it, but when you rest and recover, that's when you grow. How can you get stronger if you're not able to recover from each session? So it's super important that you get enough sleep each night, anywhere between 6 to 8 hours, depending on your lifestyle, of course. For myself, sometimes we don't get enough sleep, but we have to nap in the day. Gotta do whatever it takes and make sure you get that rest in.
Hope you guys enjoyed watching our workout today.
Now, we'll take you through an interview between myself and Hang. She talks about her experience when she first started training, what went through her mind, and what we did in terms of a strategy for nutrition and training. Hope you guys enjoy.
Hello, my name is Hang and I've been gymming for the last 3 or 4 years. I only recently got serious with training for 1.5 years. Training for me back then wasn't something that I take seriously. I only joined the gym with me and my best friend, and we went gym whenever we felt like it. Might be 1 or 2 a week, or it might be 1 every 2 weeks. To be honest, we only went when we felt like it, so it wasn't much of a big deal for us. And I would go to the gym and whatever machine was free, I would jump on it and I'll do it. I had no programs, no knowledge of anything. And I'll also train legs only. I didn't train any upper body parts because I was scared if I train upper body parts, I'll look like a guy and I'll be all muscular and bulky. Back then, there was a lot of exercises that I didn't know how to do, so when I went to the gym, I didn't really feel comfortable, and there was a lot of things I didn't like doing, like all the main compounds. I didn't like squatting, I didn't like deadlift, I didn't like benching. I pretty much just did all the leg machines and all the leg exercises. Back then, I was really insecure with my body because I had a lot of cellulites on my leg and on my butt cheeks, and it makes me feel really uncomfortable wearing anything that might show it. Also, I used to buy a lot of gym tops and I was never able to wear it because my tummy would be hanging out and I didn't feel comfortable wearing it to the gym, and so it would just lie in my cupboard. And also there was one time when I went to the beach with all my mates and I wore bikinis under my shorts and my singlet, and when I got there I just couldn't take off my shorts, so I took off my singlets, and I was just so self-conscious with my cellulites on my butt that I just couldn't take my shorts off, so I left my jeans shorts on. I remember my friends asking me, why don't you take your shorts off? And I'm like, oh nah, I feel like wearing it today. So I just jumped in the water with shorts on, and I had to wait for it to dry up. Then I was able to hop in the car to go home, and that was actually really sad. And I wanted to be comfortable with myself again, so I decided to go to the gym. About a year and a half ago, I started taking gym really seriously. I'll start going for 4 to 6 times a week, and I'll have a program where I do all body parts. I didn't just focus on my legs. I'll actually bench, deadlift and squat and do every exercises. I wasn't afraid of lifting heavy anymore because I now know that it's not what makes you bulky. Lifting heavy is actually really good for you, and you just build muscle and achieve your body goals. It all happened when my boyfriend started going gym and I tagged along with him. And then when I started seeing progress at the gym, I decided to count my calories and count my macros. I downloaded my Fitness Pal and I learned more about food and its nutritional values. And I am now currently sitting on 2,200 calories. I'm not afraid to eat anymore, and now I'm more comfortable with my body. My cellulites has then been less visible. You can no longer see it as much, so I'm much more comfortable being able to wear stuff that I've always wanted to wear and just be myself and feel happy and confident. I started wearing my crop tops and sports bra without even noticing that I'm just able to wear it now, and I'm just comfortable wearing it, and I'm not afraid my fats will hang out or... Yeah. Last year I went on a diet and I was on 1,200 calories and it was really hard. I had to fight a lot of my cravings and I had to do a lot of cardio, which is something I hate. And honestly, what drive me forward was starting to see my body being more fit and more slimmer. What kept me going with my diet was seeing my body transform into something I'm more comfortable with, and it kept me going. Even though cardio was really hard, what I learned was I put a TV series on while I'm doing my cardio and not think too much of it, and I just watch something, get my mind off it, and then just keep going and stop thinking that, oh my God, I have to do cardio, oh, it's so hard, I'm dying. So I just set a goal and I went for it. I had a lot of food cravings during my diet, and what I did was use alternatives of lower calories, dense food. Like if I was craving chocolates, I'll go out and buy these chocolates that are like really low on sugars and lesser calories, and I'll have just one block. So then I don't crave chocolate anymore. I'll also eat Halo Top ice cream instead of normal ice cream. I'll also be making jelly, which is 0 calories, so that's a really good snack when you're on diet. Fitness not only helped me improve physically, but it also helped me mentally and emotionally. I'm now a lot more happy and more confident with myself. Also, fitness has taught me discipline, and I've taken that into my work and my career. I am now setting small goals, more checkpoints, and hitting it at work as well. And I think it was the momentum of hitting checkpoints at the gym that's now made me want to push harder and just achieving and just keep going and getting better at everything I do. I'm just a lot happier and I feel a lot more motivated, and I feel like I want to get out of the house and I'm more active compared to what I was back then, where I was kind of always lazy, always enjoyed just staying home, watching stuff, and that was all I did. My short-term fitness goal is to hit 40 kilos for my bench and 90 kilos for my squat and 100 kilos for my deadlift. I'm hoping to achieve all that within this 16 weeks of the blueprint, and I'm also hoping, well, I am currently at 55 kilos and I'm hoping to drop down to 48 kilos. So losing weight but while building muscles. My long-term goal is, to be honest, to keep this momentum going and keep this fitness journey as a lifestyle for me and just keep going at it, get stronger and have a better physique and stay healthy. If I had to give old Hang advice, it would be to not be afraid of heavy weights, train all body parts, because all I trained back then was legs. I was so afraid of chest exercises. And also, food plays a really important role with your fitness journey, so don't just go to the gym and not watch what you eat and just eat everything. But also, keep in mind that don't be afraid of calories, so don't starve yourself and just find a program, just track your macros and calories and find something that works for you. Hey guys, today Andrew's mum will be teaching us how to cook a traditional Vietnamese food. It's called broken rice with pork neck chop. If you guys enjoy the food of your culture, you can make it yourself, but just learn how to count the macros, and then if you can fit it into your macros, then you can cook it and then count it and eat it. And this is Andrew's mum. Hi. And now we'll be marinating the pork neck. So today we prepared 6 pieces of meat. Each piece is about 100 grams per piece. And we'll be adding 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of oil, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. Also be adding a small teaspoon of garlic powder. So we'll just be mixing up everything together and just marinate it. Usually you'll want to marinate this for at least 2 hours in the fridge first, and it will taste a lot nicer. We'll be cooking the meat outside with this little barbecue that we have here. We'll be cooking this for about 10 minutes and then we'll check and see if it's ready, then we'll flip it to the next side. As you can see, she is cutting her meat right now when it's popping up like that. That way it will stay flat and cook more evenly on the barbecue. And now it is ready to flip. Meat is ready to go, so we'll be taking it out now. Next up, we'll be showing you how to make Vietnamese fish sauce. What we'll be using is 2 tablespoons of sugar, 3 tablespoons of normal fish sauce, 100 grams of hot water, and half a tablespoon of vinegar. And what you do is just mix them all together and you got your fish sauce. We're showing you how to make this Vietnamese fish sauce because the normal fish sauce itself is very concentrated, so it's very salty. We'll be showing you how to dilute it with sugar and water, and that will make it very nice. So the meat is ready and the fish sauce is ready, rice is also ready, and we'll just be plating up food now. For those of you who like to eat chili, you can add a little bit of chili in this fish sauce and it will taste amazing. We'll be adding some cherry tomatoes to our dish. We'll also be adding some pickled cabbage and carrots into our dish. Let us know below if you want us to show you a recipe on how to make this pickled cabbage. We'll be serving the dish with some garnish of spring onions and oil. In this bowl here is around half a teaspoon of oil, and this will serve around 10 servings, 10 people. And we'll microwave it for about 30 seconds. we'll be chucking a little bit on top here and a little bit on here. Look, we forgot to add eggs before. It is very common for people to add eggs into this dish, so we'll cook the eggs quickly. Egg number 1, egg number 2. Chuck a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. The meat we've chosen today is very high in fats, so if you guys don't have enough macros for it, you guys can switch it to a chicken thigh instead, and the calories difference will be around 100 and something calories. You guys can also minus some rice as well.
Let's eat.
Let's eat!
There's one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about before we wrap up this episode, and it's about excuses and disadvantages. I want you guys to stop seeing disadvantages as a reason for you not to do something or as a roadblocker, and see it as an investment that pays off in the long run with experience. At the end of the day, this whole fitness journey or your career or your work journey, it all comes down to a decision. You just need to go out and do it. Often our mind will start justifying why we should choose the easy option. And that thought is driven by your subconscious. You can't control that thought. If you naturally want to ease off and not do something, or you've been putting something off, you've been procrastinating, your mind starts to give you signals and justifications why they think that that is the right choice. So for example, after a long day of work, you know you need to go home, you train, cook food, do what you need to do to be on your program, but you start justifying, you've had a long day at work today, you've worked hard today, you know, you can have a cheat meal. It's just one day, you've worked hard, you know, fitness is not as important as your work. So you start justifying. You've come to a fork in the road. And how I see things is, every time I have to make a decision, my universe will split into two. And there'll be a version of me that went out and did it, and there'll be a version of me that didn't. Over 1 million decisions, over 1 million splits in your universe, which version of you do you want to be? In 3 months' time, when you look back, you're gonna have two choices. One, to say, thank God that I had just done those 1 or 2 small little steps every single day, and it's accumulated over the 3 months, and this is where I am now. Or you're gonna look back and say, I just wasted the last 3 months. I should have just pushed that a little bit harder. I should have just gone a little bit more, and all that would have accumulated. It's the same thing as trying to save money, or trying to build your fitness, or trying to work at your career. It's small steps that accumulate over time, and you are in that position right now to define your destiny. Just remember, every time you're about to make a decision, your universe splits, and there's a parallel version of you that either does or doesn't. You don't want to be the one with the shorter end of the stick, and if there are 1 million versions of you out there, over 1 million decisions, why would you want to be the worst one? You'd want to be the best one, right? You're not competing with anyone. You guys need to stop competing with other people. Stop comparing yourself to other people. And it's why we started the Blueprint in the first place. I want you guys to stop comparing and try to help each other. On this series, I'm coaching some of the guys that you met in episode 1. In the next episode, I'll actually be taking you through the strategies. So what calories I've put them on at the start, how they've been tracking, and what the weight difference is. And based on that weight difference, how do I plan the strategy? So hopefully that will actually help you guys out. I know there's a few of you out there that need help with your calories and you don't know what to do. And I'll be honest, even when I'm dieting, it becomes very hard because you're constantly battling yourself mentally. Mentally, I wanna binge, I wanna do this, I wanna slack off, I wanna fall off the wagon, but I have to use my logic to drive me back into progress. So that's all we have time for today, guys. Hank couldn't be here to say goodbye. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you let us know down below what you want to see next in terms of recipe. Subscribe if you haven't already, and give us a thumbs up. It really helps. We put a lot of effort into these videos and would really appreciate it if you can help us out. Remember, let's go achieve championship.